The original Trinity Square was designed by Rodney Gordon when he worked for the Owen-Ludner partnership. Owen-Ludner is famous for a number of brutalist structures, the Tricorn Centre in Portsmouth and the also famous Derwent Tower, which was located in the borough of Gateshead as well. The car park was designed in 1962 when brutalism was at the forefront of modern architecture. By the time this opened in 1967, brutalism had already featured some of its downfall and the architectural style was already in decline. Brutalism as a design form does not feature well in the British weather. The grey concrete does not mix well with our grey cloudy skies, our poor weather, and this often leads to the concrete looking even worse than, say, in a sunny climate. It goes dark in patchy places and doesn't keep its sort of pristine form which brutalism sort of aims for. The design of the original Trinity Square was based around a shopping precinct underneath with then a raised deck of 7 parking layers. This then featured a restaurant on top, which was a glass structure with concrete as well that provided views across, would have provided views across the whole of Newcastle. Trinity Square was devised as a redesign of Gateshead Market Square. However, its creation created a shopping precinct that was unattractive, was poor to access to the rest of the town centre, as a bit of foreshadowing to its overall decline, which we discuss later in this video. As this shopping centre was under development, the Eldon Square shopping centre in Newcastle city centre was also under development. So this sort of shows the sort of level of competition between Newcastle and Gateshead to be sort of the core shopping region or shopping capital for the region of Tyne and Wear. The later development of the Metro Centre has also further led to this decline. In 1985, the Gateshead interchange opened, and this, as well as other changes to the town centre, impacted how much private cars could actually access the town centre, and sort of the need for an overall large 7-storey parking structure was questioned, and this sort of led to its decline as in use as a parking structure. The shopping was in use for a little while after. Its condition deteriorated until 1995 when the upper levels of the parking area were closed off and were no longer accessible. In 1990, Tescos took an interest into the site, and in 2008 they submitted their plans for the redevelopment of the site. The car park is known from famous film media such as Get Carter, which has led to it colloquially being known as the Get Carter car park, after featuring in the 1971 hit film. After all the factors were discussed leading to its decline, such as the opening of the Metro Centre, the opening of Eldon Square, the changes to the overall access of private cars, its overall demolition started in 2010. This led to the site being fully demolished by 2013. The new mixed-use scheme of Trinity Square, of the same name to add extra confusion, was opened in 2013. This featured a view cinema with 9 screens, a new Tesco extra store, said to be one of the largest in the country, student accommodation for Northumbria University, as well as offices and retail units. This redevelopment was said to cost £150 million and was funded by Tesco plc through one of their third-party companies. Whilst the design of the original Trinity Square was controversial, being a brutalist structure that stood out on the Tyne Gorge, the new design for the updated Trinity Square is even more divisive. In 2014 it was nominated for the Carbuncle Cup. This is sort of the list of worst buildings for the year. This sort of demonstrates how bad this structure looks. This is mainly due to it being a mixed match of different styles. The towers of the student accommodation stick out above what is the Tesco extra store. The structure does not blend in to the existing Gateshead High Street scene at all, sticking out massively, and even when it tries to blend into the existing structures which have remained, it fails as badly, featuring panelling which has some texture to try and add detail, but this doesn't actually add that much overall detail to the design. and it sort of creates a mixed look. If I had to give it any name of any style, it'd be a very bland PVC looking building. Another downfall of this is the lack of frontages in some places. As it would be in a Tesco extra store, of course, they provide car parking. Luckily, this wasn't a surface parking lot. It was incorporated into the design. This is underneath, on forming the first layer of the site. It's an underground car park serving the health centre, Tesco's, as well as the cinema. This does not provide free parking. This costs, unless you are using one of the uses, you can get like a claim back ticket and use that. However, as it has to feature this car parking to serve these uses, which I might not agree with, it has an issue with the frontage of one side having to be solely dedicated to deliveries for the Tesco's and stores, as well as providing car parking. So this creates just a bland entrance to one side that happens to also be the entrance if you were coming from Newcastle across the Tyne Bridge. One of the best features of this new development is the square, which, hence the name Trinity Square. It does retain an original form of a square, nowhere near probably the size of the original market square, but at least it has this sort of open, meant to be sort of communal space. This is quite well designed, but obviously with any British square, it features a lack of benches, anywhere to sit, anywhere to congregate. As always, we relate to a sort of worry of antisocial behaviour leading to antisocial architecture. Another notable thing about this site is that due to its prominent location and excessive height, this is visible from numerous streets and famous Newcastle landmarks. Newcastle's famous quayside. You can look down there, you see great Gateshead landmarks such as the Sage, the Baltic, the Millennium Bridge, but then you see just above all that is Trinity Square with its sort of bland architecture, sort of contrasting with these structures. Newcastle's most famous street, Grey Street, often voted one of the prettiest looking streets in the country, has a perfect curving street that unfortunately looks down on no other than Trinity Square. So this shows how even in a different borough, or this shows how even under a different council, it's affecting sort of the overall visual amenity of the street scene, and just sort of shows how bad this looks. And such a prominent location being so visible from everywhere, it really just brings down Gateshead's overall design. Developments such as this also raise the question of, should we be allowing corporations to develop our town centres? Do they really have the best interests in mind, or are they just trying to squeeze in the largest Tesco store? Or because are Tesco's ready to try and design a public space for people, or are they just trying to design something with the most retail units, the most uses to sort of fit their interests? And I think we can already see that their overall design doesn't actually have anything of interest to it. It just serves its purpose. One of my university lecturers once told me about the whole redesign of Trinity Square and the new development, that some designs aren't made to last, that Gateshead Town Centre was not thriving and they needed something to sort of revive it. But building something this large as a temporary stopgap for a better development just seems very wasteful, especially with like the ongoing climate crisis. I think we should be aiming for designs that are made to last, designs that should be really incorporating more landscaping, more social uses, rather than something just to stop the economic decline of a town centre. Gateshead always will be sort of second to Newcastle in terms of its retail, but that doesn't mean they have to build structures like this that don't really fit in with what else is there. The introduction of a student accommodation in Gateshead is quite useful. I feel introducing a student population here is good for high street revival, as there is no other mainstream, as in hosted by the university, accommodation here, so I believe having this large student population is beneficial for sort of supporting local shops around it, as well as sort of adding just a critical mass to this sort of redevelopment. The loss of this sort of the original Brutalist icon of Trinity Square is sort of a loss to Newcastle, and the fact its replacement I'd say is even lower quality. At least the Brutalism had a style to it, at least it had something continuous that it was trying to do, whereas the new Trinity Square is just a hodgepodge of different designs that don't really add up to anything. I hope in the future we can sort of see a retrofit to this building maybe that makes it more visually appealing, but due to its main issues having these jutting towers that are visible out, I feel this may not be possible.